Today we step into the wizarding world of Harry Potter to make Frozen Butterbeer. And this is going to be an easy Frozen Butterbeer recipe. When Universal Orlando opened the wizarding world of Harry Potter at Islands of Adventure on June 18th, 2010, they also introduced the world to their version of Butterbeer. And today you can get the cold version, which is a carbonated vanilla butterscotch cream soda version, a hot butterbeer version, as well as possibly the most beloved, which is a frozen slushy style butterbeer, all topped with a butterscotch whipped cream. This recipe is a secret with very little known about the actual ingredients that are used, and the copycat recipes are pretty basic and not great. And that's what we're working with today. Most recipes call for A&W Cream Soda to be slushed up, usually in your freezer or in a blender, and then topped with whipped cream. And it's okay, but it's nothing special. So today, instead of reinventing the wheel, we're gonna make 3 frozen butterbeers, one with that A&W Cream Soda, everyone's baseline version, one with IBC cream soda, and then one with butterscotch beer. All are non-alcoholic, and all of today's final butterbeers will also be non-alcoholic. Now, before we jump into these pretty easy recipes, a little background and why I decided to go forward with these easy recipes. First, I tried making my own cream soda from scratch, and I found that they just lack the qualities and the characteristics that you're gonna find in cream sodas like these. Vanilla on its own is just not enough with water in the Ninja Slushi machine to create something that seemed interesting or had any depth or character. Now, I also made my own butterscotch to try to go down that route, and I found that the butterscotch I made, while it tasted pretty good, once you diluted it with water and put it in the Ninja Slushi machine, it didn't taste very good. There was just something off about it. And if you're not entirely sure what butterscotch is, it's pretty simple. It's butter along with sugar, usually a dark sugar or light brown sugar, and then cream. There's actually no scotch in it. That's not why scotch is in the name. And the version I made a really good topping. It just didn't work in a drink. Now, one of the things that will happen is if you have actual butter in your butterscotch and you put it into a frozen drink machine, the butter is going to solidify. Now, some of you know this if you've watched some of my other videos. You can use something called 210S, which is a blend of gums. It's acacia gum as well as xanthan gum. And if you add that to a butter syrup, you can make a cold drink, shaking it or possibly even in the blender, and it's not going to solidify. The butter and the fat is going to stay as an emulsion. It works incredibly well. And I made 2 versions of butterscotch syrup using 210S in varying amounts, and it doesn't work, in my experience, in this machine. I think it's because the element inside is so cold that when the fat gets on that cylinder, it turns into a solidified butter. And I don't know exactly what Universal does, but I would imagine they're probably not using real butter, maybe a butter flavoring, if at all, to make their own butterscotch. So you can go ahead and try making your own butterscotch. I might encourage you to try using 210S or a blend of these gums, but in my experience, it just did not work. Now, the goal here for me is to have a baseline, an ideal flavor profile from using a soda that people can find, and eventually getting this dialed in to where it's the best version of itself and ready to be turned into a cocktail. So today we're making all 3, and each of the 3 will be getting more butterscotch added to it through this store-bought butterscotch syrup. Any brand you like works here. I'm adding in 1.5 teaspoons extra per bottle, or per 12 ounces. That means for each batch, I'm making 24 ounces. I'll be using 1 additional tablespoon of the butterscotch syrup or butterscotch topping. While we wait for the A&W batch to turn into a slushie, let's make our butterscotch whipped topping. And for each 1 cup of whipped cream, I'm adding in 1 tablespoon of powdered sugar and 1 tablespoon of our butterscotch syrup, plus a pinch of salt. Use whatever method to whip up, but I found that in small amounts like this, an immersion blender works easiest, but just be careful because it will make a mess if you don't cover it. So there you go, frozen butterbeer using A&W Cream Soda. All right, let's try version 1 with the A&W Cream Soda. The whipped cream's helping out a lot to give some body to it, but overall, it's just flat. It tastes just exactly like the A&W Cream Soda, which is to be expected. And there's something about that. There's like a touch of acidity and like sourness to it, which can be appealing. But overall, it's like an artificial vanilla note. There's not too much of the butterscotch coming through. And if I was at a park and I spent $10 for this, I would be disappointed. So I don't think that this is going to be the best one we have today. And while I've never had IBC cream soda, their root beer is great. So let's try the IBC cream soda for our butterbeer. There's another version of butterbeer using the IBC cream soda. All right, let's try the version with the IBC cream soda. That's better. It's objectively better. It has more of a vanilla creaminess, like a vanilla ice cream flavor than just the artificial. I just say like the A&W's, it's just a little bit unusual, a little bit hard to put your finger on the exact flavor that you're tasting. But the IBC, it tastes more well-rounded. I checked the calorie count on this bottle is higher than the A&W, but there are a couple grams less sugar in this one, and this one tastes a little bit less of that cloying cream soda sweetness. And I think it's just because there is just more flavor coming through. It's not necessarily spice. It's just a more a higher quality vanilla flavor to me than in the A&W cream soda. It has a flavor that I want to come back to more. If this was being sold at a theme park, I could see that I wouldn't always want one, but every now and then I would want one. Where the A&W, I'd have that one time and never again. So in that regards, definitely much better. But that is to be expected. The IBC sodas are more expensive, a little bit harder to find, come in the glass bottles. But if you want to make a better butterbeer, that's going to be much better than just using the standard copycat recipe with the A&W cream soda. And finally, our final frozen butterbeer using Old Keg Premium Butterscotch Beer. All right, no doubt that this one should have the most butterscotch flavor. I've had this soda once or twice before. It's delicious on its own. Now, while I was waiting for this to slush up, I was going back to that IBC butterbeer. It's pretty good. And then I remember that recently I picked up this Lorraine flavoring. It's butterscotch flavor, and I hadn't used it yet. It smells like buttered popcorn. So it has that real intense butter flavor. And I added 1 drop to it, and it was about 3/4 full. And it really got that butterscotch flavor, maybe a little bit too strong. But I think the IBC with some butterscotch flavoring is going to get you the butterscotch, that like real butterscotch flavor, more than if you made your own butterscotch or if you were buying a butterscotch syrup. Like if you want to heighten that butterscotch that it might be missing, then something like that is the best thing to do. But let us first try the Old Keg Butterscotch Beer Butterbeer. All right, that one's delicious. It has butterscotch as like the first flavor. I don't know if the vanilla probably is a little lost, so that cream soda element is in the background there. It tastes like the IBC version with 1 drop of that butterscotch flavoring, but maybe even more intensely butterscotch I was looking at the back of the bottle here, and it's about the same sugar and calories as the other ones, but it does say it contains milk and that it has a stevia extract. And I almost feel like I can pick up the stevia a little bit. That kind of like I know it's not artificial, but artificially sugar thing, but it's not very noticeable, and I'm not even 100% sure that that's not just my mind playing with me. But it has the most butterscotchy, but I feel like maybe it's too much, and it's moved away from the butterbeer cream soda. It is much better than the A&W. It is, I don't know. I think it's on the same par as the IBC. The IBC is less sweet, more cream soda. This is more butterscotch. So it kind of depends what you want. We're not really going for total authenticity here. At the end of the day, it's not really a cream soda. I guess there's elements of the cream soda, but it does have a big butterscotch flavor. So if you want that, if you can get your hands on this, they sell cases of this at Costco. I think it is probably something you're going to find most places, but then it comes back to cost if you're spending a couple bucks on a bottle for a slushie. But I'm telling you, it is so much better than the A&W Cream Soda. I have a little bit of the IBC left over. Let's try mixing them. I think this is going to work really well. All right, I think that's the best. I think mixing half IBC root beer, half of the butterscotch, you're getting the best of both worlds. You're not needing to bring in too much more butterscotch flavor because you're getting enough from the butterscotch soda, but you're also bringing in the cream soda element. I didn't think that was going to be the answer when we started. I thought the butterscotch beer was going to be the best by far, and it turns out that these two together make the best version. But there are so many other cream sodas out there, and probably even some butterscotch sodas. So I don't want to say definitively that these two are the best, but for what I can find locally to me in the grocery store, I see IBC all the time, Costco and other places like Bevmo, I see butterscotch beer. Those two working together are going to get you the best butterbeer, in my opinion. So that is it for this one. Butterbeer for you and the kids, non-alcoholic. I'm thinking about what rums I could put in this to make an adult version, and eventually I want to have a version that you can easily make in a blender so everyone can have one. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to this channel. It is my new YouTube channel devoted to all things Ninja Slushi and Frozen. Check out my Patreon page if you want to support this channel more, and I'll see you on the next one.